Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting MacWhisperer live broadcast. I'm Frank, I'm your host for today, and as always, we're excited to have you here. Notifications. Notifications are supposed to help us keep everything coming up on our phones and on our devices, supposed to keep us informed. But when they pile up and they overwhelm us, they can be a real headache. That's why we're here today. We're here to help you take back control of and master your iPhone and notifications or device notifications. From customizing your alerts to using focus modes, we'll show you how to declutter your notifications and make your iPhone work for you and not the other way around. Plus, stick around later because Dylan, as always, will share his MacWhisperer Power Tip, a game-changing trick to take your notification management to the next level. And don't forget, as always, we'll be sharing access to a smart notifications guide, a downloadable PDF. Hope you keep these tips fresh and accessible. Share it with your friends and help them as well. So, as always, please introduce yourself in the chat. We'd love to see who's here, where you're from, where you're tuning in from, what you'd like to fix about your notifications. Let's make this fun and interactive because remember, at the end, we'll be taking questions. So anything that you want to ask, put those in the chat. I'll make sure I line them up. If you're not aware, we're going to be going over notification views, app by app control, focus modes, scheduling summaries. So we're here to have a good time. But enough about all that. Let's bring in Dylan, the man, the legend. Where is he?
I'm here.
There he is.
Here I am.
Dylan, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Frank. Thanks so much for having me again today.
Thanks for joining us. There's been so much feedback, great feedback from what we did last week. I don't know who's here today that was joined us for the classes that we did, the decluttering classes over Black Friday weekend. But I just had a blast. I got a ton of emails. A bunch of people are new members. I mean, the excitement is just amazing. Maybe I just want to talk about your experience with it and maybe just give a brief synopsis because I think the offer is still going on from what I remember.
Yeah, we actually extended it. So to bring you guys up to speed, I created a iPhone masterclass, and this iPhone masterclass is just chock full of information and tips on how to really master your phone. Over the Black Friday weekend, we introduced a lot of concepts about how to be organized, how to declutter, and we gave out an offer where you can get our iPhone Masterclass completely for free for signing up for at least 1 month of our MacWhisperer membership. And so many people jumped on board of that. I'm really excited. We've got over 30 new members. I'm so excited to bring them in. We've got our first class of December is tomorrow. So if you're interested in digging into your technology in a better way than what we're doing here or via YouTube, I love YouTube. I love what we're doing here, but this is not as interactive as it could be. I can't physically see you. I can't connect with you. I can't build that community, which is exactly what I've been doing over the last 5 years with my MacWhisperer membership. We have live classes with all sorts of amazing topics and tools, and it's like what you're getting here, but times 10 because you can answer questions and we can communicate and connect with you. So if you're interested in getting more than what you're getting here and more than what you're getting on the YouTube channel, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of this offer. We've never dropped it this low in price. We've never given away the masterclass for free, and there's so much that we're doing to build that masterclass and that membership just for you. So I don't want to get lost in sales. There's more stuff that we want to do while we're here, but we've extended this until the end of day today so that you can become a member and experience your first class tomorrow if it fits. So that's my information for that, and I'm so excited. You know, I'm call out Manny directly. Manny, who became a member over this weekend. I'm super excited to bring him on board and really show how quickly you can learn when you have the right teacher. The last thing I'm going to say about that is I'm a lifelong learner. I'm constantly learning new things, reading books, trying to figure out technology and other pieces, and I'm learning how to play the guitar. I'm 52, so this is like I'm late in the game to figure it out. And I've been doing so much of it on my own through YouTube, through apps, through websites that I've been participating in. And I had my first live guitar teacher last weekend. And having someone in person that I could ask questions to and that could show me right off the bat, like, hey, you're holding the guitar wrong. Hey, there's all these great tools that are going to make it so much easier for you to learn this instrument. And I walked away from that lesson and I said, that's what I want all of the people watching us to understand. Passively taking in information is not the way to learn. Being in an interactive environment where you can ask questions, where you've got other people that can support you, where you've got a teacher who knows how to guide you, it makes a huge, huge difference. And technology is complicated and it's overwhelming and it doesn't need to be. So if you're done with it being complicated and doing it yourself, take advantage of that offer or keep coming to these classes and we'll continue to guide you. But it's even better when the interactivity is higher. So that's what I've got.
It's great. I'm excited for tomorrow. See all our new members and share that experience and continue learning.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So what are we doing? Are we doing notifications on the phone primarily today? Should I bring up that
Yeah, you
screen?
can go ahead and share the phone. Yeah,
Okay.
you go ahead and share the phone. I'll get right into it here. Cool. And I want to just kind of start off with this conversation. You heard Frank tease it. Here's the thing. Our phone has apps that give us notifications so that we can stay on top of what's important. But because most people don't manage those notifications or manage those apps in an appropriate way, it's completely overwhelming. And you can see just on my screen, this is like information from recently. This is not from like 26 days ago. This is from, the last couple of hours of my day. Just an overwhelming amount of notifications. I know how to manage it. I know how to take care of it. During our call today, I'm going to teach you some of my best tips so that you aren't overwhelmed. And I want you to think about email. Just as an example, your email started out being this great way to communicate with your friends and has now become an unbearable process of weeding through junk and unsubscribing to things and deleting hacked emails and all this other nonsense instead of being what it was supposed to be, an easy way for you to connect and communicate. Notifications is an extension of that problem. If you just ignore notifications and don't take care to manage them, they become so overwhelming that it doesn't matter how important it is, you're missing stuff. You're not checking your texts, you're not getting your emails, you don't know that your Amazon shipment was delayed. All of the important notifications are buried underneath all of the junk that you don't need. So we're going to talk today about a notification diet, and I'm going to show you how to manage these notifications so it works for you instead of you being a slave to the beeps and bings of your phone. What we're looking at right now is the notification center or the lock screen on my phone, and there's a bunch of stuff there. I'm not going to start there. I want to start instead in the settings section. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is understanding notifications themselves. And Frank, what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to have your phone ready because I'm going to have you send me some texts in a few minutes so that we can see how those look. So just be prepped for that. I'm going to start off by going into the settings section itself. Let's get out of that page. And as you open up the settings section and scroll down just a little bit, you're going to find yourself face to face with your notification settings. It's right here. When you come to the notification setting, it can be overwhelming like everything else. We're going to break it down into separate chunks. Up at the top, there are 3 different ways to see your notifications on your lock screen. The first one just shows how many notifications you've got. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go into my lock screen. Be aware it's not going to be 100% accurate because I've been on my phone a lot today, but you'll see down at the bottom here, it shows 1 notification. I know that's not true because there are other ones, but that's the one that's happened since I was last on my phone. If I come back into notifications here, the second choice is called a stack. This is my preference. I really like the stack because it just simplifies things. The way the stack looks is a little more like this. It puts your important stuff up top, and then as you scroll, it stacks the other things on top of each other. The third way is called the list, and the list is very similar to the stack, but it's already laid out. So as you open up the list, it can sometimes feel a little overwhelming because it's going to look kind of like that when you open it up. It's going to block a lot of the things on your lock screen, which overwhelming to me. So I like to keep it simple with the stack where it just stays out of my way down at the bottom and I can easily move up from there. Coming down here, we're going to talk about some of the separate sections. But before we do that, I want to talk about something called previews. And previews is a really important piece of this. What a preview means, and you'll see that my previews are set to always, it means that when you get a notification, the notification can tell you the information or it can hide it. So Frank, if you'll go ahead and send me a text right now, you can just say hi. Hopefully I've got it set where it's going to show up on the right screen here. Let me just, don't send it yet. Give me 1 second to check. Oh, I did. He got it. Great. So you can see right up at the top that it shows that Frank sent me a message and it says, hey. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the previews to never. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that that's set for messages as well. I'll explain that more in a moment. Down to messages here. And we're just going to turn that on to, where's my previews? Show previews never. Great. Okay. So now, Frank, go ahead and send me another text. Now you'll notice this time it says Frank sent me a message, but it doesn't tell me the message. It just says iMessage. And now I'm expected to click on that banner in order to see the message itself. To me, previews are really, really important, and we have 3 options for them. The first option is they will always show up. That means even when your phone is locked and sitting on the desk, they'll show up. If you're concerned about other people in your household seeing what an iMessage might say, leave that off. Second choice is called when unlocked. When unlocked means when you're using the phone, like we are now. That means the preview will show up when your phone is unlocked and you're just using it. Never means whether your phone's locked or unlocked, you're never going to see the details. And if you've got this set, this is just such a stupid setting in my opinion, because it creates an extra 2 or 3 steps to see what that message is, which is just unnecessary. So I recommend either when unlocked if you're concerned about people around you seeing your messages, and it's not just iMessages, it's all notifications respond with this kind of a preview, either telling you, hey, you've got an email, hey, you've got an iMessage, or saying, here's the content of that email, here's the content of that message. I like to leave it on always because there's nobody around me that I'm worried about seeing some random text. So I'm going to step back here. And we're going to scroll down a little bit further and I'm going to go into this section here where we see notification style. In this section, you're going to find every single app you've got. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Amazon as an example. For every app, we can turn notifications on or off right at the top. It's a global kill switch. Allow notifications or don't. Right now it's set to no. I turn it on and it allows me to customize what notifications I get from Amazon. First of all, you get the option for what's called immediate delivery. You see that right up here. Got my annotator here. You've got your immediate delivery right there. Versus scheduled summary. Hold on to that. That's part of the power tip. We'll talk about scheduled summary in a moment. But immediate notifications means when you get texted, when you get a notification from, in this case, Amazon, it pops up right away versus a summary that you can schedule later. Down below, we see where it says include time-sensitive notifications. There are some apps that have information that I need to act on right away. Think about Uber. Think about Uber letting you know, like, hey, your driver is here. I need that to bust through no matter what I'm doing. So by having time-sensitive notifications turned on, it means even if you're in mini focus modes, this can pop in on top of it so you don't miss that information for important time-sensitive notifications. Now with Amazon, what important notification are they going to give me? That my thing is running late, that it's early, that it's here? I don't really care, so I'm going to turn that off. Now down here, we've got the most important part of this conversation, where your notifications show up. And there are 3 separate places you can have them show up, and you can have 1, 2, or all 3 of them. So we're going to talk about them one at a time here. The lock screen. The lock screen is the screen you see when your phone is in this position here. Waiting for it to show up. This is, I pulled it out of my pocket, I haven't swiped up, it's just sitting there, and you'll see that I can receive notifications right here. Going back to privacy, if you don't want people to see anything, you may want to turn the lock screen off for sensitive apps. If you want to make sure you've got access to them without unlocking your phone, leave the lock screen on. The second setting is the notification center. The notification center is accessed when you're in your phone, when you're using your phone, and it's accessed by pulling down from the upper left corner of your screen like this. It looks a lot like the lock screen, except I'm in my phone. So I can still access the same things. So sometimes you want to have it be on your lock screen or your notification, or in my case, I leave it on both. The third one is banners, which pops up on your lock screen or on your phone when someone sends, kind of like what happened when Frank sent that message a moment ago. There's two separate settings for banners. The first setting is called temporary, and you'll see that right down here. Clicking on temporary, you can also choose persistent. Persistent means that that banner will stay there until you do something about it or until another banner replaces it. And if you are notorious for not answering your WhatsApp messages, turning it on to persistent means they won't go away until you answer them. So you can strategically choose specific apps to be more persistent versus temporary. And combining those three pieces of the lock screen, the notification center, and the banner allows you to have this full range of options of how you see things. So I'm going to take just a second on that. There's a lot of information there. I'm going to take a back step. We're going to talk about a couple of the other pieces that we see on the screen here. You have the ability to have your notifications make sounds or not. I don't like sounds. My phone is on silent 99% of the time. But if your phone is usually on ring, you can set up sounds for your calendar, for your reminder, and many places you can customize the sounds that it makes. Down here, we've got the option for badges. Badges are a really important part of notification. You'll notice badges will show up on any app that's trying to tell you it's got messages for you. So whether it's phone or text or reminders, the badges show you how many notifications you have in that particular app. So you want to make sure that you've got badges turned on. Let me get rid of those circles. Make sure you have badges. I don't have Do Not Disturb on. That's how he rang through. He may call back. We'll deal with that in a second. If you'll notice here where it says badges, if there's an app that you just don't care about, like for me, and I'll show you right now, there's an app that I'm playing around with here, this Blue Sky app. It's supposedly a replacement for Twitter. I am uninterested in it at the moment, but I'm playing around with it. You can see it's got the banner here, but I'm not using it. So that banner is kind of in my way and annoying. So what I can easily do is come into that specific app. We'll come into it right here. And I can come in and I can turn badges off for that. Now when I swipe back, there's no badge on that app. There's nothing for me to dodge. So you have all the control about how these separate things look and how you want to make them appear. Moving down, I'm going to ignore the show on Mac. That has to do with iPhone mirroring, and I'm not going to get into that today. You'll notice that it's got this ability to announce notifications. Announce notification means if you have AirPods in your ear, when a notification comes in, it will be read verbally into your AirPod. You have to have AirPods. They have to be in your ears, and you have to have it set for the specific apps. So when somebody says to me, can't I have reminders read the actual notification out when I need to do something? Yeah, just wear your AirPods and have that setting turned on. Okay, down below here, we can choose whether this particular app shows previews as the default, which we've set to always, or maybe this app is more sensitive so I don't ever want to see previews. You can make those choices on any specific app. So sometimes I want the preview, and sometimes I just don't care. I'd rather go to the app itself. So you get to choose down here which one you want to do. I'm going to leave it on always. Don't worry about the notification groupings, the summarized notifications. That's irrelevant for what we're talking about today. But now you've got sort of a global picture of how your notification settings work and some of the options. Before I hop back to Frank to just make sure we're all on the same page here and share out our smart guide, there's one other thing I want to talk about, and it has to do with how you can work with notifications. And this works either from the lock screen or from the notification center. I'm going to do it from the notification center. I'm going to pull down to see all of my notifications. Now, up at the top, you're going to notice time-sensitive ones, specific things that need more attention from me because they're important. And as you come down here, you're going to see stacks. Notice here, because Frank texted me twice, it stacked both of these. It shows the number 2 there, that they're both there. If I simply tap on that notification, it's going to expand out so I can see what all of the notifications in that stack are. We'll go find another one as well. Here under Notes, you can see there's 7. Clicking on it, it's going to show all of the separate 7 ones. Clicking Show Less will compress it again. In addition to that, you can directly interact with these. So let's take the Frank Hey comment here. If I wanted to clear it, I could swipe from the left to the right all the way. I'm doing that slowly, but in most cases, you just flick it across. But that's not the only way you can address notifications. I can also swipe from the right to the left and go into the Options section. Now, I'm not going to do that with this Frank message, but I am going to come into my Notes message, and I'm going to go ahead and swipe, and I'm going to click Options. From here, I can mute these notifications for an hour, for the day. I can add them to my summary, which we'll get to in a few minutes, or I can just turn them off. So what happens all the time is people have like some app that is just irrelevant to them, like this vidIQ. It's a brand new app I'm playing with. It's not that important. I don't really need them to notify me. Rather than just swiping it and clearing it and doing that every time they send me a message every day, I'm going to do a partial swipe, click Options, and I'm just going to select Turn Off. That app no longer can notify me. I can change it in the notification settings, but the important piece is understanding that from your notification center, you can address apps that you don't need those alerts for. Here's another example. I do not need Zoom alerting me when I started a meeting because I'm usually there. Options, turn off. I can also come in, click Options, and go directly to the settings for that specific app in order to make changes here. So right from your notification screen, you've got all these options to start eliminating notifications you don't need. The last piece, and to me the most important, is when you get a banner or when a notification shows up on your lock screen or your notification center, you can address it right away without going to the app. So here, Frank has said, hey, hey. I'm going to press and hold on that, and notice that it opens the message up, giving me a keyboard, and I can say, excited to see you today, exclamation point. And you should notice I used the little microphone because I like to dictate instead of talk. I've now responded to Frank, but I'm still in my notification center. I didn't have to go to messages to do that. And that's not just for messages. You can press and hold on all sorts of notifications to get more information about that notification, or if it's a reminder to snooze it or set it aside for later. So that's piece one of this conversation. I guess the other thing I'll say is from this notification screen, you can also click the X at the top to clear large groups of notifications at a time. I don't want to do that because I haven't looked at all of them yet, but that's another way you can keep things clean. So Frank, I'm going to hand it back to you for a moment. I'm sure we've got a smart guide, something we can share before we step into the next piece.
Absolutely. First thing I want to say, though, is it just continues to astound me how much you get done in a given amount of time. And once again, I'm visiting the I didn't know what I didn't know. So all those options with notifications, I had no idea that they existed, and they're going to make my life that much easier. So thank you for that.
You know, one of the things I'll say is a lot of my clients, they will say, I don't have time to call you. I don't have time to fix that. I don't have time to deal with notifications. I don't have time to make changes. And my answer to them is, you want to know why you don't have time? Because you haven't done it. If you had organized your notifications, if you had learned those new tools, if you had picked up the pieces that we're talking about here and taken use of them, you're going to have more time. If you don't, you'll continue to say, I don't have time for that. So I encourage you, this is intended to save your attention and your focus while you're working. And in a few minutes, we'll talk about focus modes as well. But just by going through these applications and cleaning things up, as we'll do in a moment in this notification diet, will buy you time. Because when a notification comes in while you're working, it's like squirrel, and you're lost for a half an hour, chasing down that notification instead of managing it appropriately.
Absolutely. Before we share the smart guide, the community that's growing has just been incredibly supportive, and I'm showing the wrong one. The support on YouTube alone and the membership has been growing, and I know you have a goal that you're looking to set where we'll start to give special lives to just the members on YouTube, but I thought maybe you wanted to share this or talk about this for a moment, because it's a great way to contribute in a small way and everything helps.
Absolutely. So I have a goal. My goal is 20 members. We just started this YouTube membership about a month ago. I believe we're at 17. We might be at 18 at this point. Once we hit that 20 member threshold, I'm going to start doing more for those members, including classes like this just for you guys. Really intimate, just a handful of people or the people that have signed up for that membership. I've already gone ahead and released most of my videos early to members. So you usually get them anywhere from a day to a couple of hours before the public sees them. And I also am calling out members inside of comments, things like that. If you are a member, you've heard me say hi, you've heard me connect with you directly. I prioritize member comments above and beyond other comments. So if you've got concerns, you've got issues, you want more hands-on help, stepping up to becoming a member, there's 4 different levels of support from 99 cents a month all the way up to $20 a month. By becoming a member, I'm going to make sure that you get even more out of the YouTube videos and the things that I'm doing and more personal relationship with me, which is going to help you save time and make these other things easier. So I really appreciate it. Let's hit that 20 membership. I'd love to hit it today. If I hit it today, I will schedule a call for the next day or two in order to welcome you all in. I also want you to know we are going to hit 50,000 members or 50,000 subscribers. I'm estimating by Monday. So I want to celebrate, but I really just want to celebrate with the members. Just give them a little bit of love and say thank you for helping us be successful here. That's what I've got, Frank.
The support has been just amazing. So here's our PDF for today. It's a smart guide on notifications. You can use that QR code. You can also utilize that URL. Our creative team is getting better and better with these. They're having a blast. The reception and the amount of downloads is just growing and growing. So please take advantage of this. It's our gift to you. Give it to friends. Share the wealth. And I'll include the link in the chat as well. But I know we have so much more to go over, so I'm going to bring you back to the phone, Dylan, if that's all right.
Perfect. It's perfect. And I want you to know that the reason we create these smart guides is not because we've got too much time on our hands. It's because we know that it's hard to take notes while you're learning, and so we're taking them for you. Everything that you're hearing today is in that smart guide, and so even if you miss something, you're confused, go to the smart guide, check it out. It's going to make it easier for you. We ready for part 2? Let's jump in. All right. Part 2 is the notification diet. Here's the thing. As I scroll down here, you're going to see that literally every app you've got can bug you, can notify you. And most of them are turned on for most people. This is because when you install an app, it says, "Can I bug you?" And you're like, "I'm just trying to install something." So you click yes without paying attention. As a result, you end up with all sorts of notifications from games, from apps, from websites, from things that you just don't care about, and the important things get buried. So your job in this notification diet is to go from the top all the way to the bottom of your apps and determine whether an app gets to alert you at all. If it doesn't, turn it to off. And if it does get to alert you, how? So let's take a little look through here. I've turned off this game 2048. I don't need their ones. I've turned off the App Store, but we're going to scroll down a little bit further here, and I'm going to go into Blue Apron. Blue Apron is a food preparation subscription that my wife and I love. I'm not selling it, I'm just explaining it, but I do not need anything I do not need them to notify me when things are shipped. I don't need any of that stuff. So I'm just going to come up to the top and globally turn off notifications. You'll notice as you look through here, now Blue Apron shows as off. Now let's go into books. Do I really need notifications from books? I mean, what are they going to tell me? That the next page is ready for me? You know, that there's some new book by an author that I once read? It's not important to me. I'm going to turn notifications off. In fact, you're going to find that as you go through this system, you're going to turn like 75% of these things off. And the great thing is, as you turn them off, 2 things happen. The first thing is less distracting notifications. Yay! The second thing is that it's going to save you battery. You know, everybody wants to save battery. Everybody's obsessed with their battery life on their phone. And they come into this screen and they're constantly quitting apps and going, "I'm saving battery, I'm saving battery." You're not. You're not. But you want to know what does save battery? Managing notifications, because any app that's got notifications turned on is constantly reaching out to their server and going, "Hey, anything we need? Hey, anything we need? Hey, anything we need?" All of which takes data, bandwidth, and battery. So every one of these you turn off is you saving battery from that app bugging you when you don't need it to in the first place. Really, really easy to do. So you're going to scroll your way all the way through here, and you're going to really pay attention, like Canva. Do I need them? Maybe I do need them. Do I need them immediately? I could probably put those in the scheduled summary. I'm going to leave it on immediate just for this example here. And then I might be like, I don't really need banners for it. I don't really need it on my lock screen. I just need it in the notification center, and I don't need sounds and badges. You can customize each of these to strip out the things you don't need or don't like. Sounds are one of the easiest things to turn off because there's a lot of cases, and we'll come into this Broadway and Hollywood. Do I care about their sounds? No. I didn't even know that I need the notifications in the first place. Customize these. Go through each app. Start with the question of, do I need to know what this app is telling me? Something like calendar, yeah, I need that. That's important. I want to make sure that I hear that. I want to make sure I've got access to that. And I can come into the sound section here and choose a very specific sound for calendar alerts. Some people don't understand how to use the right tones for different devices, and I've seen them use a phone ringtone for a calendar, which means somebody invites you to an event and it sounds like your phone is ringing. You run over, hello, hello, there's nobody here. Oh, it's a calendar appointment. Be smart about what sounds you choose for different apps. Make sure they're distinct, make sure they're noticeable, and make sure that they don't sound like other things. I don't want a text message confused with Amazon telling me my latest package has been delivered. It just doesn't make any sense. So you get to control all of those things. And in this notification diet, top to bottom, turn off if it's a maybe, turn it off. You can always turn it back on later. And don't forget, the easiest way to know what's bugging you the most is to come into your notification center and just scroll around. You're going to find apps where you're like, well, I don't need this Facebook app notifying me. I don't need this notifying me. And you can do a half swipe, go into options, and turn it off from there as well, or just temporarily silence it. So you've got all the control over what does and doesn't bug you, and how much battery you want to waste for some random app to tell you things you don't want to know that are in the way of the things you do want to know. It's all up to you. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to drop our MacWhisperer Power Tip here. Here's where this is going to come in. It's early, I know. We're going to have another piece. I'm going to talk about focus modes, but this is where this conversation begins. I'm going to go back up to the top here, and we're going to talk about this concept called a scheduled summary. There are apps that notify me and I need to know right away. Then there are apps that notify me and I just want to know, but I don't need to know immediately. I can look at it in the morning or in the evening or tomorrow or next week. It doesn't need to be pressing. By creating a scheduled summary, which you can have automatically show up at multiple times in the day. I've set mine to 8 a.m. so before I start work, I see everything that's come from these apps overnight. And 5 p.m. so before I'm finished with work, I've got a digest of all the things that happened during the day that didn't pop up and disrupt me. All you have to do is turn on the scheduled summary. You can see mine is already turned on here. It'll ask you when you want them, and you can set up those specific preferences. Down below that, you get to choose which apps are in the summary. You can do that in the app section itself, but they're all listed here, and they give you these two really, really helpful ways to see your apps. The first one is the weekly notification average. What does that mean? The apps that bugged me the most this week. And because we had this promotion running through the platform that I use for my membership, Kajabi, you can see this guy was off the charts. This is proof of how successful everything was over this last Black Friday weekend. I hope you take advantage of that offer, but we still have it up. But I don't need to see these as they come in, which is why it's turned on for my notification summary. I can check it in the morning and the evening. As I scroll a little further down, you can see the phone. Well, the phone is important. I can't have that go to summary, but I can scroll down a little bit. I can say, I don't need Amazon. Amazon can show up in that summary for sure. I can probably even put notes in that summary, and I can probably put August and other things in that summary. Notice how many things I've got on here. The things that are not in the summary, and we'll put on health in there as well, and blue sky, the things that are not in the summary will bust through during the middle of my workday, which I need in some cases because, I have maps set to not be in the summary because if I'm driving somewhere, I need maps to tell me turn left. I can't have it show up at 5 o'clock and say you were supposed to turn left 4 hours ago. That's not going to help. So you decide what goes into that summary and what doesn't. Now, up at the top, you've also got the ability to search your apps alphabetically, which is another great way to do it. The notifications average shows you what's bugging you, but sometimes you can come in here and be like, oh, that can go in there, that can go in there, that can go in there, and you can make your choices to decide what shows up at these scheduled times versus what shows up immediately. Now I'm going to go onto my lock screen. I'm going to see if I can show us a summary. I did not clear it this morning. It should still be there. So I'm going to go into my lock screen here. Get my screen up. Come on. It's locked. Did it not open? That's fun. My whole thing stopped sharing. Hold on. Let's fix that. Welcome to Tech Problems with Dylan. One of the funniest things, after 5 p.m. and before 8 a.m. today, let's grab my, hold on, stay there. Does not like staying on the lock screen. That's one of my problems. All right, so I'm going to click on that morning summary so you can see. It shows I got some PayPal information, I've got some journal notifications, here's some Kajabi information, and some other stuff. By having this digest of what happened, I can, in a moment, glance at what I missed from last night and move on without being inundated with notifications all day long. It's a really, really powerful power tip. And when I started doing it a couple of years ago, I didn't really get the value of it. At this point, as my life gets busier, as the notifications get more chaotic, knowing that I can capture whatever I want without having it show up every minute has saved me a lot of time and allowed me to stay focused. Focus is the next conversation. We're going to talk about focus modes. We're going to spend a couple of moments on that. Frank, do you want to do anything before I break into that, or should I just roll ahead?
No, I think we should just keep moving.
Great. I'm going to keep moving then.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to pull down my upper right corner of my screen to get into our control panel. And I want you to know, my control panel is going to look different from yours. This is because the control panel in iOS 18 is completely customizable. So don't expect it to look like this, but you can make it look like this if you want. You can adjust these settings. We're not going to talk about that today. What I am going to talk about is this piece that we see right here called focus. So let's talk about focus modes. I'm going to get out of here and just explain them first. We'll get into here. Focus modes have their own setting in your settings section here, and you can create multiple focus modes. See the banner just popped right up while we were talking because I don't have focus modes turned on, which we'll deal with in a second. It used to be that we only had one focus mode, and that focus mode was called Do Not Disturb. It was essentially a global kill switch. You know, a lot of people, when they go into like a movie theater, they turn the volume on their phone down really low, or they put it on vibrate, or they power their phone down. I don't. I turn on Do Not Disturb. Do Not Disturb silences your phone. It sends any texts that come in don't light up your phone. They don't vibrate. Any phone calls go right to voicemail. It's exactly what it says. Do not disturb me. And it's more effective, in my opinion, than turning the volume down and your phone's still going to vibrate, or turning it off and then having to remember to turn it back on again. You can set up focus modes to be automatically triggered. So you might even put in the location of your local theater, and when you walk in the door, it goes into focus mode for you. Do Not Disturb is global, but Apple decided that it was important to give people more granular control over their focus modes. So they changed it from being called Do Not Disturb to being called Focus, and they give you multiple options. Some are pre-configured, like the driving mode. The driving mode, when you connect to the Bluetooth in your car, automatically turns on, allowing only the people you choose to connect with you, and will also respond with, do I have it here? Will also send an auto reply message to anybody who texts you while you're in the car. This means that somebody sends me a text while I'm driving and in driving mode, and they get an immediate text response saying, thanks for the message, but I'm in the car. I'll call you when I get home. just like that. And you can choose whether those replies go to everybody, your favorites, your recents, or no one. So you have granular control in there as well. Some of the other focus modes they've created are work modes or sleep modes, but you can also create your own modes by coming up to the upper right-hand corner, clicking the plus button, and making your own focus mode. Focus modes, by being separated, can do very helpful things for you. For example, if you are at an office from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. every day, and you are not allowed to be on Facebook or any social media, you can set up your work mode and you can edit which apps you do and don't have access to. Super, super helpful. In addition to that, with any of these focus modes, you can customize certain sections of your phone and your watch to work with them. For example, if I click choose here, it's going to allow me to choose which lock screens are connected to my work focus mode. That means whenever I change to a specific lock screen, it automatically puts me in work mode. If I click in the middle area here, it means that I can choose what app pages show up when I'm in focus mode, which means if I've got a page of social media apps but I'm at work, I might say include this page and this page, but don't include the other pages. You can completely customize how your phone looks when you're in that focus mode, so you're not distracted by the games you're not supposed to be playing when you're at work. Of course, it's up to you. If you want to play the games at work, you can absolutely add them as allowed apps. And on the far right side, if you click this here, it will allow your watch's face to control your focus modes as well, so that when you swipe over to your fitness mode or your work mode on your watch, it mimics that change directly on your phone and your other devices. In addition to all of that, you've got these other two options that we want to talk about. One is called Share Across Devices, and one is called Focus Status. Share across devices, you'll see I have it turned off. What it means is that if this is turned on, when you go into a focus mode on one device, like your phone or your iPad, it puts your computer or your other devices into that same mode. I have it turned off because I manage my focuses differently for different devices. In addition to that is this thing that says focus status. Now, if you've texted someone recently and it says so-and-so has their messages on do not disturb, or so-and-so has notifications turned off, click here to alert them anyways. This is a way to allow other people to know, when you are in a focus mode so they don't get annoyed when you don't respond quickly. I don't want anybody to know when I'm in a focus mode. When I'm in a focus mode, that's about me, not about you, no offense. So I'm going to leave that turned off. I also just think it's a smarter way to go, but it's up to you how you choose those. So whether you're setting up a global do not disturb, those little dots, a global do not disturb, or a specified focus mode for working, or for when you're playing games, or for when you're doing fitness, or for when you're traveling, that you can trigger from your watch, from your phone, by changing your lock screen, or simply by turning it on, having a couple of focus modes set up for you are really helpful. And I just want you to remember that in every focus mode, you've got the options for what people you allow and what apps you allow. Now, you'll notice I've been getting alerts through this entire call. Normally I don't get alerts, but I wanted my do not disturb to be off for this call so that you can see how annoying it is to get interrupted by texts in the middle of a live broadcast. Stupid, right? Let's fix that. How you turn on focus modes easiest is from your control panel. Pull down from the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to notice our focus button right here. We've got two separate options. If I click directly on the moon, it will turn on the most recent focus mode I've used, which in my case was do not disturb. So if I click that, you're going to see it says do not disturb on. When that moon is lit up, it means that's active. I'm going to turn it off now. You can also click not on the moon, but on where it says focus. And what that's going to do is give you options of all of your existing focus modes so you can turn a specific one on or off. In this case, I'm going to turn on do not disturb so we don't get any more texts or interruptions. But if I was driving or getting ready for sleep or getting ready for work, I might have chosen one of the other options. And then just remember that when you are in your control panel, you can turn it on and off just by clicking the moon rather than selecting the specific one unless you need to change to a different focus mode. Focus modes are super valuable, and they're the other part of the notification mess. Go through the notification diet. Turn off the things you don't want. Adjust the ones that you do want. Adjust the sounds. Adjust whether they show up on the lock screen or the notification screen. Adjust whether the banners are persistent or temporary. Adjust whether you see badges. Do all that stuff first. Then set up focus modes, at least one, allowing you to silence notifications from people you don't want to communicate with, from apps you don't want to hear from, so that you can stay focused. Say one last thing that I left off, and I want to make sure I cover it here, which is, here. Nope, not there. There. Okay. So inside the people section where you can allow things, there's also this really important thing here. It says allow calls from, and you can set this to anything. I've got it set to favorites, but you could set it to a specific address book album that you've got, or something where your favorite people, your family. I leave mine on favorites because that's my family. But that means that if I'm in this mode and one of my family members needs me, they can break through it. I've also got this setting here called allow repeated calls, which means if I'm in do not disturb and somebody calls me and then calls back from the same number within 3 minutes, it automatically lets it through. This is helpful in an emergency. The dead last thing I want to talk about, and it's 1 degree off topic, but I think you're going to find value in it. Inside of the apps section here under phone, did not mean to hit App Store, let's go to phone, is a really, really valuable setting that can help you not be disturbed by robocallers or junk callers. It's right here where it says silence unknown callers. This means if the person is not in your address book, it goes directly to voicemail. This is, if you've got a lot of people calling you from blocked numbers, don't turn this on. But if you've got a lot of junk calls coming in from numbers you don't recognize and it's just absolutely ruining your ability to focus, turning that on means they can leave a message and you can check the message later rather than having their calls disturb you. I find it a really, really effective method to deal with robocalls and junk calls without a major impact because I can always check the voicemail. And incidentally, my voicemail specifically tells people, send me a text if you want me to respond quickly because I'm not great at voicemails. So if these people call that number and it's real, they'll send me a text and I'll get back to them right away without them having to wait. But it's a great way to protect yourself. I want to protect myself so I'm not being hit by these notifications and these phone calls and these texts and these emails from people I don't care about and apps that I don't need. So that's what we've got for the separate pieces of notifications and focus mode.
Outstanding. Nice work.
Thank you.
We got some questions, but the comment, the community continues to grow, and the comments are just off the charts today. We have Brian finally made it for the first time for a live show.
Welcome, Brian. Welcome.
We got Evan or Evans from Japan.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're now international, Frank. I hope you're ready for it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of others. I can't get to everybody, but these are interesting. We have Karen, who just joined the YouTube MacWhisperer, as well as Laurel.
Nice.
And Audrey.
We might have hit our 20.
I think we might have hit 20. I love that name. That's
super excited, you guys.
That's my mother's name, Audrey.
I love it. Love it.
G. Albert is asking, I'm calling you G. Albert because that's how it's listed here. Is there a quick all open apps command for iOS?
So I believe that he's not actually asking for all open. I believe he's asking for the ability to quit all open apps, meaning coming into this screen, pressing one button, having all these things quit for you. And I'm going to say, first off, no, although I understand there are some third-party apps or Siri shortcuts that you can add on that can do that. But I want to tell you, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not helpful. And let me explain why. When you are dealing with this screen here with all of these open apps, in most cases, these apps are in hibernation mode. Now, as physics tells us, an object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object at motion tends to stay in motion unless outside forces act on it. What that means is if I come into this app and I quit it, I am changing it into a different mode. I'm getting it out of being open. But the next time I open it, it's got to start all over again. And so when people do this, they do this because they want to save battery life. And I will tell you straight up, there is no worse use of battery than quitting things that you're going to open 2 seconds later. You'll notice I don't quit things. My battery life is great. I don't quit things. And there's a couple of reasons. The first reason is it doesn't help. It hurts. Imagine using your car, right? When you turn the ignition on your car and you start your engine up, gas floods into the engine and the spark plugs fire and it gets spontaneously combusted and it starts to move the engine wheels, right? The most energy and damage done on a car is done by starting it. So if you got to a stop sign and you turned it off and then turned it back on when you wanted to go, you'd be wasting tons of energy in your car. We don't do that. We just stop. And our car sits motionless, and then we press the gas and go, and we move forward. If you are commonly quitting your apps, you are taking the key out of the ignition of an app that you're going to be back in like 5 minutes. And I've watched people on airplanes send a text, quit it. Send another text, quit it. Send an email, quit it. Send another email, quit it. And I'm just like, guys, you're killing your battery while you think you're helping it. It doesn't help. Second reason that I don't do that is because when you're in this mode, you can easily get to apps that you were previously in quickly. In fact, if you use this little bar at the bottom, which we'll call the home bar, and you swipe it to the right or sometimes to the left, you can move from one app to the other very quickly. This is called app swapping. But you know what it doesn't work with? If you go ahead and quit out everything, and I'm going to manually quit out everything. For reference, if you want to quit multiple things at a time, you can use up to 3 fingers to swipe at the exact same time. I'm going to quit everything out because, that's what people think we should do. Get all these, see how many things. This is how infrequently I do this. Take me 3 days just to quit all these things. And then I'm going to be right back into all these apps tomorrow. So it's a complete waste of time, but I'm going to do it for you guys for a very specific reason here. Woo! Woo, look at that. Look at how many of them there are. Wow, I really should be quitting these apps more often, right, Frank? No. Don't say yes. Don't say yes to that. There we go. Okay, everything's closed. Everything's closed. This is amazing. It's so clean. Now I'm going to go into notes, and now I want to go over to settings. I was just in settings. Oh, it's not there anymore. Oh, hold on. I'll raise it up. Oh, it's not there anymore. So what do you have to do when you close out your apps? Well, then I've got to stop what I'm doing, swipe up, and figure out where the heck the app I want to go to is. Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Now, let's quit it. Oh, now I need to go back to it. Get yourself in the habit of leaving things open. There is one reason, actually, there are 2 reasons to quit apps. Reason number 1 is because the app has a problem. Something's not working, something's non-functional. If that's the case, absolutely quit it. The second reason is if it's a GPS-based app like Waze, like Google Maps, like Apple Maps, because these have a GPS connection, even when they are idle, they're wasting battery. So those, quit. A problem app, quit. The rest of them, especially the apps you're using every day, leave them alone so you can get back to them quickly without having to go through your home screens, which in my case, I got, 2 home screens, right? I got this one, and everything I need is there. But I know you guys have 5, 10, 15, 25 separate. You got to scroll back and forth, and it takes forever. When you're quitting those apps, you're not only making it harder for the phone to run, but you're going to make it harder for you to find the app 3 seconds later when you want to check your texts again. Get out of the habit. I know I over-answered that question. It's literally one of my biggest little trigger points. I will say one last thing and then hand it back to you for another question that hopefully doesn't have to do with battery life. When Steve Jobs was alive and they first developed what was called the multitasking screen where you could see the open apps, he was famously asked by someone whether he should quit the apps all the time. And Steve Jobs said, no, that's super not Apple friendly. Like, why would you open an app and then close it immediately? We're managing the memory on the back end. You don't need to do anything. Think about how long Steve's been dead. Think about how many times you've force quit apps since then. Think about how much battery life you've lost and all of the repetitive motion finger strain you've got by swiping uselessly. That's my answer. And I'm super annoyed now that I have no apps open. I'm going to have to open all my apps all over again. Super annoyed.
It reminds me of a friend of mine in high school when he was throwing his transmission into neutral every time he was gliding. It's like, Mike, what are you doing? It's like, oh, it saves gas when it's in neutral. I was like, I don't think so. As soon as you go back into drive, I'm sure it's pumping more gas than what you're saving.
Yep.
There's a bunch of people that have popped on, even though we're getting close to the end, and I want to make sure everybody's aware because I think you're getting a true idea of what it looks like to be in the classroom with Dylan. It's more interactive. It's on Zoom. You get to ask directly, and you can see the attention and obviously his knowledge. So take advantage of this because it's only going to be here until midnight tonight, which is you get the entire iPhone Masterclass, which I think is like a $600 value. You're getting that for free by joining the membership, and the membership includes so many different things. And the first class is tomorrow. Did you want to say something else about the membership?
Yeah, I just want to say one quick thing here. I love these lives, but I don't work super hard on them. I'm just having a conversation with my buddy Frank and whoever shows up. I am not uber focused on the details. I'm not making sure you don't have questions. I'm not interacting with you. The membership is different. It's well organized, well structured, and specifically designed to make it easier for you to learn how to do whatever our topic is. For our topic on Friday, for tomorrow's topic, it's the end of the year. We've been doing decluttering all year long, so we're going to do a massive year-end wrap-up. We're going to talk about all the different ways we've decluttered apps over the last year, and we're going to help people figure out where their big problem area is so that at the second class of December, before we hit our new year, you can handle and tackle that specific app, and it's going to be really, really valuable. So I encourage you, take advantage of this, and please come join us tomorrow where I won't be so rushed. Be a little calmer, and we'll have a different shirt on.
It's going to be fun. People brought to my attention that I didn't update the QR code. Let's see if I can do that real quickly while we're on here. This is the Smart Guide, our giveaway for today. We give these away every live. And if I can, yeah, here we go. That should switch it out. Go. Did you see it switch?
Good.
Okay, good.
I saw it
So
switch.
that's the correct QR code. I did put it in the chat, so thank you everybody for letting me know. Obviously, people are using the smart codes, the QR codes, which is terrific. Our team will continue.
And I love any opportunity, Frank, to prove that we're human.
Yeah.
We also make mistakes, Frank. I do, you do.
Oh, I make mistakes.
There's no shame in it.
Stephanie's got a question for us. She's looking for what is the intelligent breakthrough and silencing? I'm not sure I understand what that question is.
I understand.
Okay,
I understand.
great.
We'll go into there. Go ahead and share the screen when you're ready.
Yep. Let's bring back the phone.
I'm going to go into what app? I guess we'll go into here. No, I didn't want to show it there. Oh, it's under focus modes. It's a new feature. And essentially what that new feature does... The intelligent breakthrough and silencing uses AI or Apple Intelligence to determine if there's a message that needs to break through urgently. Somebody's saying something in a text that you need to know right away. There's something that's critical and important. So it's going to automatically turn on and off what you receive rather than you having to fine tune it yourself. I have not played with it a lot yet. It's new with iOS 18.1. Incidentally, iOS 18.2 will be released on Monday. There's new features and other functions coming in for that. And as Apple Intelligence becomes more robust and smarter, things like this will allow you to not have to customize that focus mode and allow Apple Intelligence to do it for you. Again, I just like the global kill switch of Do Not Disturb. So for me, I haven't played around with it, but that's what it does. It is only on the iPhone 15 Pro and later with the Apple Intelligence functionality.
It's great. I just have to push it because we were just talking about this over the weekend. Well, I'm sorry, Leslie, not you. Where'd he go? Brian.
Hi, Leslie.
Yeah, hi, Leslie.
Yeah.
Brian's looking for a master class that has more to do than just the iPhone. You and I were just talking about that over the weekend. So
They're coming.
it's coming.
They're coming. The first thing is in the membership. In the membership, we cover everything. In the membership, we'll talk about phones, iPads, Apple TVs, watches, kind of whatever you want. The members determine what our topics are. And as we get ready for 2025, we've got an email that's going to go out to our existing and new members asking them what they want to learn. So if you want something that's interactive and gives you that capability, Brian, come to the membership, come check it out. We'll work on it there. The master classes, I'm building an iPad master class. I'm building an Apple TV one. I'm building an Apple Watch one. I've got one for the Mac, although that's a master class. That's a big undertaking, and it'll be a few months before that's kind of ready. But it's our intention in 2025 to release multiple master classes on specific topics and specific devices to help you out. But in the interim, the membership's here for you.
I put my email in the chat. Brian, email me. We're giving out a few invitations for tomorrow, so people can take advantage of that. Pez is asking if you turn off scheduled summary, will notifications come through immediately?
Yes. Well, depending on the settings, but yes. If you don't have a focus mode on, you turn off scheduled summary, you don't have a focus mode on, and you've gone through those apps to say which can and can't alert you, then those notifications will come in as they show up on the phone rather than clumping at the 8 and 5 o'clock or whatever you do. But the nice thing about scheduled summary is you can turn certain apps to immediate and certain apps to scheduled. You have the control. It's not like when I turn on scheduled summary, nothing shows up. You choose. I picked a handful of apps that I don't need urgent notifications from. The other ones notify me immediately. So it's not an either or. You can mix and match those two pieces to your heart's content. But if you do turn off the summary mode, notifications will come in as they're received.
One more question and then we got to go. Guys, take my email. Please send me the questions. We're getting more and more emails. I answer every one of them. I get the answers from Dylan. Sometimes I just send him directly. So please, one more. I don't think I recognize Julia from Facebook. Julia is asking about
I recognize Julia. I know Julia. Julia and I have talked. We had a session together.
Oh, cool. She's asking if notifications are on the home screen. How do we manage it when you want to master it on the lock screen?
If they're on both. They're on both. So all you have to do is lock your phone like this. It's going to show up. Come on. It's frozen again. Frank, it's frozen again. All you have to do is go into your lock screen, Julia, and from the lock screen, you have the exact same tools to manage things. It doesn't change anything. As long as they're showing up on the notification center and on the lock screen, you can address them from either place in the same way by swiping from the right to the left, by pressing and holding on them, or by tapping on them.
Excellent. All right, we're way over time. Until next week, I look forward to seeing the new members tomorrow, and I'll leave the closing comments to you, Dylan.
Our technology offered us the promise of simplifying our lives, but because it's ubiquitous and there's so much of it and it's all over the place, instead, it's given us this overwhelm, this feeling like we're never going to get caught up. I'm never going to be able to read all those texts, all those emails. Controlling your notification settings is the first step in regaining control. Instead of being inundated all day whenever you're doing stuff, you can use focus modes, you can use smart notification settings, you can use the lock screen and other tools to make sure that you're only being bothered by the things that are important, not by everything. As you start to control that notification overload, you gain time, you gain peace of mind, and you gain the ability to tackle the next hurdle. We'll be back next week. We've got more things to talk about. Frank, what's our topic for next week? Do we have it written down yet?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I have it written down. It's not in front of me. But I know the schedule for the next couple of weeks is really exciting. I'm looking forward to every one of them. Not that yeah.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Which one?
It's iOS 18.2. We'll be talking all about the new update that'll come out on Monday. So it's great. So come join us for that. And otherwise, any way that I can help you make sense of your technological chaos, let me know. I'm here for you. Thanks again, Frank. Thanks for being here.
See you soon, guys.